I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you pray with me, please? Almighty God, the Rotary Club and Rotary International is a club of peace. And so we pray today for our communities, especially for the community in Las Vegas, for the victims and their families, and all the people that are currently recovering, the 400 people in the worst mass shooting in our country's history. We pray for the shooter and his family too, and for our country. So we pray for peace, Father. That's what this club is about. Pray for our work in our community and for World Polio Day and the work that's coming before us. And thank you for this food. Amen.
Amen.
Nelson,
Hey, Barry, yes. We're going to do a song today, but first I've got to tell you, I keep saying that I'm going to talk to you, Ryan. You washed the blue off before you came to Rotary. That is not fair.
I didn't actually wash it off, I dyed it back.
Still under there.
But I had promised my youth a couple of weeks, and I worked for a couple of weeks.
But you look good in the paper, though.
Yeah, you did. Yes, you did.
Well, Nelson, I think he was here one week.
Well,
I was here, yes, I was
I
here
must
one
have
week.
missed
Yes,
that.
I was here one
I'm
week.
sorry
You
I
were
missed
right.
that. You may have to re-dye it.
I wondered if everyone in the club would donate $50 if Nelson would dye his.
Oh, yeah, probably.
I'm going to
I'll take that one.
be You're never going to get $50 a piece from these guys.
They might give that more than you look.
Okay. Bill, we're glad to have you here today. Thank you. And we're going to sing by request of the seniors table over here. Pardon me, ladies. And Jared, I guess.
This end of the table.
We're going to sing Take Me Out to the Ball Game. You all should know that. Here we go. And Mary is here today. Hi, Mary. Good.
Thank you.
Take
Me out to the ball game, take me out to the crowd, buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back, for it's root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame, for it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
A whole lot of that song can be attributed to St. Louis Cardinals. Losing and striking out.
Well, I want to wish Dennis Moore a happy birthday tomorrow if the information in DAC-DB is correct. So happy birthday tomorrow, Dennis. I don't see any other club anniversaries or wedding anniversaries. This month is Prescription Drug Take-Back Month. We will have a speaker. The sheriff's going to come speak to us on the Monday following Prescription Drug Take-Back Day, but Brenda told me that we have banners around town, or we have signs.
And we have signs that you can stick in the ground.
Right, and so some people already have them, or we have them in a central location. Does anyone still have the sign from last year? Johnny's got some. Anybody else?
I need something to put it on, though. The standards went bad.
Okay, right.
Okay.
Amanda has some.
Come by my
So,
office next time you're in the bank. I got them.
Okay, good.
There you go.
okay, so if you need a sign, one sign to put up to remind people. Obviously, they're not bringing prescription drugs to you. They take them to the sheriff's department. We're just-
We don't get to check them out.
I want to thank Matt Martin. The pork butt sales are on as part of the World Polio Day event. We'll have tickets printed today. We should have them ready tomorrow. It's going to be a quick turnaround, but it's $30 for a pork butt. Mark House is cooking them, so you know they're going to be great, right? Jared may help out. Jared is a world-renowned, maybe I'm overstating it, but he's an excellent smoker and cook. He's won some awards for it, so we're glad to have him helping out too.
He won in Jonesboro Saturday.
Oh, congratulations, Jared. Yeah.
Just to kind of update everybody on where we're at, Barrett is exactly right. The only thing that's kind of changed a little bit this year is We've got 150 tickets to sell. I've printed 200 with the hopes of selling 150. We've only secured one cooker as of right now, which will hold about 75 to 100 butts. So there will be 2 separate cooks. There'll be a cook Thursday night, and then hopefully a cook Friday morning, real early, so that we can get all the pork available for people to pick up. The tickets that I'll be giving out tomorrow, hopefully, have got all the information on them with the exception of one thing. The price is $30. We hadn't set the price yet when we took them to the printer, so I was a little reluctant to put a price on there, but $30 are what the pork butts are selling for. If we can sell 150, then we'll do excellent, and that'll be a good fundraiser for the club. They'll be available for pickup, and this is on the tickets that you'll be getting tomorrow between 3 and 7 at Centennial Bank on the 20th of October.
Great. Thank you, Matt. I don't see Bill Olson here, but I hear that he was named the Arkansas Realtor of the Year, so that's awesome. Yeah. Congratulations. Okay, Donna, do you have anything for us on grants you want to tell us about?
I do. All 4 grants that were submitted were approved. Exciting. We added in the bags for the DHS for the kids that are taken into custody. We added a grant for that, so now we can double the amount that we buy for them. So we'll get that going.
Great. Dictionary projects, or this month we're starting dictionaries. I know someone's working on that. We'll have a board meeting next Monday or maybe next Tuesday, depending on the availability of the board. But dictionary projects are coming up, so be thinking about that and sign up. I think let Deanna know if you want to sign up for dictionaries, right, Amanda?
Yeah, I'm sure she'll, after we get them ordered, she'll probably have something going.
Help and Hope work day on Wednesday at 5:30. I won't be there, but we will have a key to get in, I promise. So, good. Show up if you can to help. It's an easy project, takes about an hour. Sergeant at Arms report, Ron.
Well, we may have to rethink this whole process. It seems like we match somebody up with Brenda and then they quit the club.
She's gonna get Alicia if y'all approve her. Yeah, I'll get Alicia and Alex.
Now, seriously, there has been a tough time on a lot of people meeting and getting together. Again, it's more about doing that with that person than it is reporting here in the club. And also just work as you can, share it in writing, whatever on that, just get to know the rest of the club members.
Okay. Well, I have a little trivia question then. Who knows our new membership categories? Who can name? Anybody? Amanda can.
I can name some of them.
Okay.
There's the regular, there's spousal, there's service, there's corporate, and
Spousal too.
spousal.
There's ones where your spouse can just come and just pay for their meals as they go, but be a member of the club, and then one where the spouse actually joins as like a service member. So more on that to come. Good. Dwight, do you have anything for us on treasury?
No, it's hard to believe it's already October, so that means time for more invoices.
Yeah.
Probably won't go out this week. Hopefully in the next 2 or 3 weeks I'll get them out.
Okay, good. All right, well, Phil Hacker was our door greeter today. I don't see him here, but Brenda, I think you're up next. And it's no Rotary next week because of Columbus Day, although the board is going to meet.
That should be my day.
So Brenda, you'll be the following Monday. Are there any other announcements for the good of the club or the community? Anybody? Amanda? I'm sorry, I forgot about the Secretary's Square.
This is the last week. If you want to play golf in the district golf tournament, let me know. This is the last week to sign up for that. I sent an email out Friday that Allie Phelps has resigned from the club, and the board has approved Alicia and I Barrett. I'm sure we'll announce the membership today for her. And I'm passing around the revised new bulletin or brochure that we had made for the club. Feel free to write on it if you see any mistakes or anything on there that needs to be changed or updated so that we can get those ordered. We're going to try to get those ordered quickly so that they will be here in time for the polio event on the 24th. So look at those closely. We added another fold out, so it's actually a 4 fold down instead of just a tri-fold. So look that over and let me know what you think.
Good, thank you, and thanks for reminding me about Alicia. I hadn't forgotten, but you're at the end of my list for today. But Alicia Faust has been proposed for membership. Our bylaws state that we have to notify the club and give a week for comment. I'm sure there's not going to be any issues, Alicia. We look forward to having you join us.
And Donna has a guest with her today.
Okay.
I have 3 family. They're our speaker, Bill Walmsley, and Vanessa Adams, director of the Independence County Library, and my mom, Mary Carter.
Okay.
Welcome.
Yes.
Our speaker for the 23rd, Stacey Treadway, has a conflict.
Okay.
So if you know anyone that's wanting to speak, and we've had some occasion like that, they want an opening, I'll have to get with Brenda
Amanda.
or Amanda.
Amanda's not going to be here the rest of the month. So remember, Amanda's out the next 3 weeks. Don't be, I don't have access to my emails when I'm gone, so don't be coming to me.
Okay. I know we have Joseph at the guard here too. Welcome, Joseph. Glad to have you. Any other guests that we haven't announced or anybody we missed? Okay, good. Any other announcements? Are you announcing our speaker today? Okay, great.
Neither he nor I.
A trip hazard.
Yeah, a little bit of a trip hazard. I guess I better leave that nice and high for Paul Man here. Today, I'm honored to introduce Judge Bill Walmsley. I'm sure all of you in the room know who he is. Judge Walmsley was born in Bald Knob, Arkansas. His wife, Janice, is a native of Batesville. He has 2 sons, Andy and David. He graduated from Arkansas College, which of course now is Lyon College, and the University of Arkansas School of Law. He practiced law in Batesville for 46 years, 1966 to 2012. He's a stockholder, officer, and director of Atlas Asphalt and White River Materials. His many years of public service include 12 years in the Arkansas Senate from 1971 to 1982, and judge of the Arkansas Court of Appeals from 2013 to 2014. He currently serves as chair of Woodlawn, the independent living, assisted living, and skilled care facility, and the chair of the Independence County Library. And on a personal note, last week I had the privilege of hearing Judge Walmsley speak at Lyon College regarding what constitutes a constitutional crisis. His knowledge and understanding of our nation's Constitution, along with the history and sense behind it all, was extremely thought-provoking, and I strongly encourage anyone to attend his lectures in the future if you have the opportunity. Thank you, Judge Walmsley, for coming to speak to us today.
Thank you.
Sounds like I wrote that, doesn't it? Thank you, Donna. That's a very, very nice introduction, and I appreciate it very much. It is very good to be here and see people that I've known for more years than I like to remember, and you like to remember as well. So I appreciate your inviting me here, and the purpose I'm here to speak about is to give you an update on the Independence County Library. And I really want to talk about 3 things with the library. First of all, I want to talk about current operations of the library. We're in the 5,000 square foot building there on Main Street that you have been familiar with for many, many years. And in that limited space, we have, through the efforts primarily of Vanessa Adams, our library director, we've increased our programs, and I thought you might find interesting what kind of activity your library is involved with in this county. So we started after I went on the board. We didn't know how many people a day were coming to the library. We didn't know how much we were having by way of books and other materials checked out of the library. We had no idea about the use. We didn't know where the people were coming from that were using the library. So we started a very comprehensive system of finding out exactly what kind of users we had, what they were doing, and I want to bring some of it to your attention. The period this year, 2017, from January through August of this year, we've had over 42,000 people that have come into our library, as limited as the facility is. We're averaging about 190 people a day. About 70 of those are from out in the county, which tells me that we're not serving the county as well as we need to be serving. So we're aware of that. We know that now because of the census that we've been doing. We find that over 65,000 items have been checked out of that library so far this year. So you're talking about 8,000 items per month that have been checked out of that library. We've added 1,237 new library cards. When we took over the board, I was informed by the regional librarian that volunteers were not permitted. They had 4 employees now. We have 7 now. We're up to maximum strength now. But I was told that we have now, thanks to Vanessa, we have a volunteer policy in place so that we double check people who seek to volunteer. We have clear understandings with those individuals. And this year, we have 7 qualified volunteers who so far, the first 8 months of this year, contributed 1,500 plus hours of work as volunteers. We wouldn't be able to do what we're doing now if it weren't for volunteers. Initially, we had 2 old computers in that library up against the wall. We've now got 6 old computers up against the library wall. But with those computers, and people, I did not realize this, but this year, 245 children have used our children. We have a designated computer, or is it 2? 3 now designated for children. And we've got strict guidelines in terms of what their use can be and the supervision that has to be there. But 245 children. 4,725 adults have used our computers, and all residents of this county. And what I found, we asked them the question when they use the library, do you mind telling us what purpose you're using the library for? It's up to them on whether or not they want to respond. If the response is, and most people tell us, 25% of them are either putting a resume in, looking for a job opportunity, or in some way employment-related use. It tells me this: I've got a computer at home, you've got a computer at home, but a large number of people in this county do not have internet and they do not have a computer at home, and the library is the one place that they can come, use the computer, and be able to look for that job or try to better themselves by way of employment. We also have a genealogy program that's now in place, and over 60 patrons in the first 8 months of this year contacted our genealogist for genealogy research. Over 106 hours she spent doing that. So that's currently where we are. Why are we seeing what we're seeing? And I think when we get in our new facility, instead of 42,000 people, it'll be 80,000 people. We'll be going from, in my opinion, from a minimum of the number that we're looking at now at about 5,000 or 6,000 a month to 10,000 to 11,000 people a month that will be in the library. And there's a good reason for it. We're going to be adding to the programs. When we took over, they were doing 1 program. We're doing 5 now programs. When we get in the new facility, we're going to be doing 16 different programs that are going to be provided to the public. There'll be everything from a movie club, a teen book club, children's movie time, classes by the county extension agent, computer instruction classes, on-site book club, tax advice programs, and school tours for kids in the schools in the county. So that's why, one, you're going to have a very enjoyable facility to use. And I've asked Donna to start circulating around a floor plan, and unfortunately this is the only copy I have, and some architectural renderings of some of the new library. I want to mention something that speaks extremely well of Batesville, Arkansas and Independence County. Our project's going to be about, the renovation's going to be something like a $3 million project. Probably $200,000 to $250,000 to get it really properly furnished and with all of the things that we need to have in it. We couldn't do that with the amount of excess money that we had. We just simply were going to have to cut back. So I came up and presented to the board the idea of providing people and entities in this county with opportunities to have sections of the library named for them. What I call naming opportunities. And all those naming opportunities will be is, for instance, in the children's area, which is one of our larger areas, there'll be a bronze plaque that'll say that's the First Community Bank children's area. First Community Bank committed $50,000 to the Independence County Library over 5 years in order to do that. There are 16 places that we identified as naming opportunity locations. I've contacted 15 people or entities. 14 have accepted, so 14 of the 16 are gone, and the amount of money raised is $425,000. So our library project is now on pace to be first class like we wanted it to be. Why is it? Benevolent people in this county. The generosity of businesses and individuals in this county has exceeded my wildest dreams. If you'd ever told me that if I contacted 15 entities with proposals from $25,000 to $50,000 to $75,000 each, you'd tell me that I'd get all of them but one, I would have called you a bald-faced liar. So I am probably about the most shocked individual in the whole world as a result of what we've managed to accomplish. Now, where are we with construction? We're using a construction manager. It happens to be Clark Construction. Went through a considerable process in selection, but we have a construction committee meeting every 2 weeks. The construction manager, the architect, the county judge, myself. We are within budget at this stage, and we're ahead of schedule. Right now, unless we run into a problem, the architect and the construction manager estimates that we will be completed with construction by March 20, 2018. That's a full 2 months earlier than what I originally thought. Now, it'll take us 30 to 60 days to get moved from where we are into the new library, so I still think we're looking at a May 2018 opening date. But we're ahead of schedule, we're within budget. Everything seems to be going very good, knock on wood. That would not have happened, and all of the hills that we've climbed, and they have been many. We have, unfortunately, in this county, we have one bad thing that is a recurring thing and is a present thing, and I know all of you as leaders recognize it. But the conflict between the city of Batesville and Independence County is totally contrary to all of our best interests, to the best interest of the economic welfare and the personal welfare. That has been the largest single obstacle that I have fought throughout this, and that is the conflict. If I'd selected a site in Southside, I would have been beheaded or scalped by residents of Batesville. By selecting a site in Batesville, I am sometimes scalped and beheaded by people who live out in the county. I wish that we would all say to each other, let's extend an olive branch, let's extend a hand of friendship. If I live in Batesville, to everybody who lives outside the city limits. And if I live outside the city limits, let's extend that same hand to Batesville. Because then we have a win-win situation. I cannot tell you the amount of time and the amount of hours that I've spent arbitrating or responding to irrational criticisms that come because they live in the county and we selected a site in Batesville. I just cannot tell you how many hours. Matter of fact, there was one gentleman who would get me at least every 2 to 3 weeks. Matter of fact, he had a letter to the editor last Friday, which was very, very inaccurate. But that gentleman would hit me about every 2 weeks, and I would spend a couple of hours collecting information and responding to him because I want our library to be open and transparent. About the 4th time that I responded to an inquiry, it dawned on me, gosh, all the information he's requesting from me is available to the public. It's a matter of public record. It's in the Independence County Library Board minutes, or it's in the Quorum Court Board minutes, or it's in the County Judge's office, subject to FOI. So I finally responded to him and said, look, Mr. So-and-so, this is the last time I'm going to respond to you. I'm tired of doing your research for you, and I have more productive things I need to be doing regarding the library. All of the information you're seeking is readily available, and I'm going to insist that from now on, rather than me make the effort of looking it up, that you do it yourself. And if you're going to seek that kind of information from me again, don't expect me to respond. I have not heard from that gentleman since that time, except through letters to the editor. That's the only
Yeah, I wondered if he wrote a bad letter about you then.
But that's part of it. Having served in the Senate for 12 years, I'm perfectly, and practiced law for 46, I've got a tough skin. That does not bother me. What bothers me is the divisiveness that results from irresponsible allegations. I love Mary Miller to death, and she's had a terrible time on the personal health point, and she's in my prayers every night. But there isn't any way I can disagree with a human being any more than I disagree with Mary. And she and I have come to the conclusion that we just disagree and we do it agreeably. And that's the way you need to have differences of opinion resolved. That's the way Batesville and the Independence County need to resolve their differences of opinion. We have a couple, 3 things to complete and to still do. And if you hadn't had a chance, oh, by the way, Nelson, we're going to have an occasion, and we will announce it for the press so that anybody who wants to come. We're going to open that walk-in vault in the near future.
Did you ever get the combination?
No, we never got a combination. We never got the combination. And my wife asked me, she said, Bill, if you open it up and there's a whole bunch of money in there, who does that belong to? The Barnetts or the County Library? And I said, I think I'll let the county attorney work that one out. So Eric Hance will get the answer on that. Although I told her I didn't think she needed to lose any sleep. I didn't think the Barnetts left a whole bunch of money. But we are going to open it, and we will announce ahead of time, and every member of the Barnett family will have a personal invitation to the drilling in the open. Here are the 3 things that we have to do. We have to complete our renovation project, get ourselves moved into a 21st century library. that can really provide the services that people need conveniently and well. We have to figure out a way to service the people in the county, and particularly the children, the elderly, and the poor. And we figured out a way, and it's on on that board, it's on our list. We're going to get a bookmobile. We're going to get this library in place, but we're going to have a bookmobile. And that bookmobile is going to have at least 4 computer stations in it. It's going to have internet access, and we're going to go to every community in this county. We'll be at Floral, we'll be at Bethesda, we'll make them all, where those who cannot come to the library at Batesville can be fully served. So that is, and we have a plan. I'm not ready to publicly announce it, but we have a plan that we're working on how we'll finance that. So that has to be done in order to genuinely be a county library and fully service the people of this county. Third thing we've got to do is we've got to get the foundation up, running effectively and efficient. Because you have a problem. All of your operations are paid for by one mill tax. That produces about $660,000 a year, maybe up to $700,000 a year. And that's all the money that you got to operate your library on. And we're moving from 5,000 square feet to 23,000 square feet. And what I've told Vanessa, I sat down and I did an analysis of the first 12 months she was there, and I thought, wow, we got $150,000 more in revenue than what our expenses were for the first 12 months that Vanessa was on board. Then it occurred to me, we didn't have all of our employees in place at that point. So I went back and looked at the last 4 months of that year. And gosh, we were spending pretty close expenses to what our revenues were. Well, revenues are going to go, expenses are going to go up in that new library. The immediate aspect of it is covered. We will need probably 2, maybe 3 years worth of the pledge donations, and that $425,000, which I hope will become $500,000 by the time it's finished, that comes in 20% per year for 5 years. If it's $500,000, it'll be $100,000 a year. I think a couple of $100,000 on construction is all we'll need. The other $300,000, I'm hoping, will cover us in terms of operational extensions and additional operational expenses to provide these 16 programs as opposed to the 4 or 5 that we're providing now. The other thing is, if that foundation gets off the ground, it will provide us with the extra money that we need to have for operations. So the 3 things we got to do, we got to complete the renovation, get ourselves moved in, provide the services that we promised the people we're going to provide them, get the means through a bookmobile or any other means that's necessary, but a bookmobile I think will be the best one to service all of the people in the county, and particularly the needy people. The kids who can't drive, the elderly who can't drive, and the poor who can't afford to get there. And then the third thing is get the foundation so that there is a long-term future for a quality library in Independence County. Now, I've used up virtually all of my time. I want to thank Dr. Gary Coots, Ashley Walker, David Thompson, the other members of the board. They have done a fantastic job, and they've taken heed along the way, and it hasn't bothered them a bit. Mary has been ill, and she has not been able to attend the library board meeting since February. So keep her in your prayers. Her term expires at the end of December, and unless the county judge reappoints her, that will complete her service on the library board. Her service is well intended, and she provided another point of view, albeit a minority point of view. So that pretty well sums it up. You're 4 minutes till. I'll take a question or two and then shut you down if you've got them. Anybody have any questions?
Bill, I'd like to just make a comment.
We really appreciate everything you're doing for our county in many, many different ways. But the Independence County Library is really important. But when Bill Walmsley asked for that $425,000, we responded not only to the library, but to Mr. Walmsley. So Bill, thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much, and it makes me feel very good, makes me feel very humble. Unfortunately, too many of you have known me too many years to know that there's no halo hanging around up here or anything of that nature, but I have been overwhelmed by the response I've gotten from people with the naming opportunities, and it has been a lifesaver for us.
What are your,
Go ahead.
One thing your introduction didn't include was that you were an outstanding basketball player at Arkansas College.
Well, the truth of the matter is, the guy sitting next to you knows better than that. He remembers what kind of basketball player I was.
You ran a lot of good laps, I know that.
A whole lot of good laps, and I was a real good high school basketball player. But thank y'all so much, and I appreciate you inviting me, and I hope that you'll stop by sometime and take a look at what's going on at the library. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. We appreciate you coming. We will donate a book to the library in honor of you speaking today. And the book that's up here is The Dangerous Books for Boys.
That's appropriate.
Will you draw, Bill, unless you're participating in the raffle, will you draw the winning ticket for us? Sure. Thank you.
733-745.
Hey, I want you.
You get to draw.
get to see the ocean?
This is the day. When next time we'll split it.
Congratulations. Okay, remember, no meeting next Monday. The following Monday, we'll start back, and Dr. King, the new president of Lyon College, will be our speaker. If there's nothing else for good at the club, we'll end as we always do with a 4-way test. Number 1,
Is it the truth?
Number 2,
Is it fair to all concerned?
Number 3,
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
and number 4.
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Have a great week.